Leading enterprise customers trust Tidal to manage their most critical applications and dependencies. Today, we'll be integrating Tidal to manage an Azure Data Factory pipeline. Azure Data Factory, or ADF, is a managed cloud service that's built for complex, hybrid, extract transform load, or ETL, extract load transform, or ELT, and data integration projects. Azure Data Factory uses workflows called pipelines to orchestrate data management and movement. Pipelines get your data to the right place at the right time. Administrators can leverage the Tidal Azure Data Factory adapter to optimize data integration and migration processes. With our pre-built integration, you can automate your ADF pipeline executions within your enterprise operations. Our integration also supports the ability to execute any SSIS jobs that have been migrated from MS SQL into your ADF environment. And it enables you to orchestrate jobs for data storage options that ADF can connect to, such as Mongo and Cosmos databases. By utilizing the ADF event, users can monitor the status of multiple pipelines for success or failures, and users can populate ADF-specific variable data into their actions and workflows. With Tidal, you'll also be able to use more advanced scheduling features, such as dependencies and resources, customized calendaring options, as well as the ability to track logging for audit and security requirements. Let's look at how Tidal can optimize and simplify your Azure Data Factory scheduling. Once you have configured your Azure Data Factory connection, you can now create ADF jobs, events, and leverage ADF-specific variables. For our demo today, I have configured several jobs and events to highlight the capabilities of the ADF adapter. Our first job example, referred to here as ADF Success, will highlight the ease of setting up our first execution. After specifying our ADF adapter, select the ADF tab highlighted here. From here, select Add Step to begin the setup process. Select Edit to update any pre-existing steps. For the job to be successful, you must enter the resource group, Data Factory, as well as the requested pipeline to execute. If there are any associated parameters included within the pipeline, they will show up as values here. These values may be altered within Tidal and will not have an impact on the data stored within ADF. From here, we can also select how we would like the output of the pipeline returned. Selecting Execution Flow allows users the ability to configure how we want the job to continue if the pipeline is successful or encounters a failure. If we require the job to rerun more than once, we can specify that here as well. I have also created an ADF-specific event to track for the successful completion of our pipeline. Once I have selected my connection, I can add my pipeline to monitor. I've set my run status to succeeded to only trigger this event when the pipeline run is successful. For my action, I have set up an alert notification. The alert contains our ADF-specific variable data such as our resource group, data factory, and pipeline. This information will automatically be populated by use of our variables, thus eliminating the need to hard-code any of the Azure data. I have inserted our first example job and it has completed successfully. To get additional information on our successful pipeline execution, I can open our job and select Job Run Info. From here, I can select our pipeline step to get additional details. Using the View Activity Details, I can see information about each activity that makes up the particular pipeline step. Information such as input, output, user properties, and if the job encountered an error can be viewed from here. Viewing our alert notification generated by our ADF event, we can see that our resource group, data factory, and our pipeline run data has been automatically populated by use of our ADF variables. Now that we have a successful job run, let's look at how we can manage the failure of a pipeline. For this example, I have created a new ADF job called ADF Pipeline Failure. Looking at the details of this job, the step should be attempting to execute a pipeline called PL Drop Student Table. However, this table does not exist, so the job will fail. Since we'll want to see our failed output, I will include this option in our setup. Again, to track any failures on this pipeline, I have created an ADF event. This time, however, instead of a successful run, I'll be looking for a failure on the monitored pipeline. Alternatively, if I wanted to monitor all pipelines in this data factory, I could replace the named instance with a wildcard, and the event would trigger for any failure within that resource group. I have already inserted my job into the schedule and it has completed with an abnormal condition. Reviewing the output shows that the pipeline was unable to drop the table as it didn't exist. I can see that my failed event has incremented by 1, and I have received an alert notification with details of the failed pipeline. Now let's run a second job. This job, called ADF Create Table, will create the table for us to drop. For our final example event, I will highlight our launched event trigger. Since we're using a wildcard, this event will trigger any time a pipeline in this particular data factory is launched. We can see that the Create Table job has executed successfully. Checking our output, we can observe a more detailed analysis of the pipeline execution. And we can see that our event has triggered and generated our alert notification. Now we can rerun our ADF pipeline failure. However, instead of rerunning the entire job, we can opt to rerun only the failed part of the pipeline. Open your job definition and select Run Info. After highlighting the job, you can use the Rerun Pipeline option to either specify rerunning the entire activity or only from the point of failure. We will receive a pop notification to which we will say yes and then rerun our job manually using job control. Now our job has been successfully rerun. With our new Azure Data Factory adapter, users can easily define ADF jobs and events and title to work in conjunction with their Azure Data Factory environment. ADF-specific variables allow for data such as the resource group, data factory, and pipeline name to automatically be populated in the action notification. Using title to manage your ADF pipelines gives users more control over their workflows by leveraging advanced scheduling options like workflow dependencies and events. This concludes our demonstration of the Azure Data Factory adapter. Thank you for watching.